The 10 most brutal prisons in the world. These are not just places of physical confinement. They are slaughterhouses for body and soul, where the darkest sides of state power and human nature collide. Once you're inside, you'll quickly realize that death might be the easiest escape, but even that is hard to come by. Hello, I'm V. Today, let's take a look at 10 of the world's most hopeless prisons, where death is considered a luxury. Number 10. La Sabaneta Prison, Venezuela. La Sabaneta Prison, located in Maracaibo, is one of the most notoriously violent prisons in Latin America. It's infamous for extreme overcrowding, systemic corruption, and relentless bloodshed. Designed to hold just 700 inmates, it was routinely packed with over 3,700, creating a staggering prisoner-to-guard ratio of 150-1. With order completely lost, chaos reigned. Inside, a brutal law of the jungle took over. Wealthy inmates could bribe guards for privileges, weapons, drugs, even private luxury spaces. Meanwhile, poorer prisoners were left to rot in filth, plagued by disease and gang warfare. In 1994, a massive riot broke out between rival gangs over control of the prison. The violence ended with 108 prisoners either hacked or burned to death, a grim display of the institution's total collapse. The prison was finally shut down in 2013. Authorities later announced plans to convert it into a memorial museum as a stark reminder of the horrors of corruption and violence. Number 9. Goldani Prison, Georgia. Goldani Prison is one of the most infamous correctional facilities in Europe, notorious for systematic abuse and extreme overcrowding. In September 2012, shocking footage leaked showing inmates being beaten, raped, and humiliated by prison guards. In one disturbing scene, guards forced a prisoner to masturbate with a plastic bottle, threatening to shove a glass one into his genitals. The prison operated far beyond its intended capacity, and diseases like tuberculosis were rampant. Inmates had virtually no access to health care, and survival became a daily battle. This prison also revealed the contradictions within Georgia's justice system. While the country boasts one of Europe's lowest crime rates thanks to its zero-tolerance policies, it also has one of the highest incarceration rates. As of 2023, more than 500 people per 100,000 residents were imprisoned, and the acquittal rate was shockingly low, less than 0.1%. Number 8. Carandiru Prison, Brazil. Carandiru Prison, located in Sao Paulo, was once considered a model institution when it was built in 1920. But by the time it was operational from 1956 to 2002, it had devolved into a humanitarian nightmare, one of South America's darkest chapters. Though built for 3,000 inmates, it often held over 7,500. Up to 40 men were crammed into 9 square meter cells, with no proper sanitation. Diseases like HIV and AIDS spread rapidly. Then came the infamous Carandiru massacre on October 2, 1992. A riot sparked by a football match escalated into full-scale carnage. Military police stormed the prison and killed 111 inmates. The slaughter exposed the prison system's deep failures and the government's brutal response. This massacre also led to the birth of Brazil's largest criminal gang, the First Capital Command (PCC), which originally formed to protect prisoners' rights and later evolved into a powerful transnational criminal network. Surprisingly, amid this hellish environment, there were efforts to humanize inmates. One such initiative was the Prison Genius Project, which supported prisoners in creative endeavors. A group of robbers-turned-rappers, known as 509E, released music that became a cultural phenomenon with social commentary. The prison was demolished in 2002, and its grounds were transformed into a youth park and cultural center. Only a few original buildings remain, preserved as a memorial museum, a symbol of Brazil's journey from oppression to introspection. Carandiru left a lasting legacy. Its massacre and the rise of prison gangs contributed to a massive spike in Brazil's prison population, from 114,000 in 1992 to over 835,000 by 2021. Overcrowding and misguided drug policies continue to plague the system. The story of Carandiru lives on through films like Carandiru and books like Estacao Carandiru, cementing its place as a haunting case study in Latin America's prison crisis. Number 7. Guantanamo Bay Detention Camp, USA. Located in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, this U.S. military prison has long been regarded as a legal black hole notorious for human rights abuses. Operational since 2002, it was originally established to detain suspects linked to the 9/11 attacks. Over time, it evolved into a holding facility for alleged terrorists captured during the U.S.-led global war on terror. Detainees came from over 50 countries, predominantly from Afghanistan, 29%, Saudi Arabia, 17%, and Yemen, 15%. The vast majority were imprisoned without formal charges or trial, held indefinitely. Guantanamo gained infamy for systematic torture practices, such as waterboarding, sleep deprivation, beatings, sexual abuse, threats of rape, forced feeding, and desecration of Quran. These inhumane methods caused severe psychological and physical trauma, and prisoners were often denied basic medical care. By placing the camp on Cuban soil, the U.S. aimed to circumvent domestic legal constraints. However, international law has condemned its actions as violations of the UN Convention Against Torture and other human rights treaties. Number 6. Diyarbakir Prison, Turkey. Diyarbakir Prison, located in southeastern Turkey, is infamous for its brutal treatment of inmates, especially following a 1980 military coup when it was converted into a martial law prison. It primarily housed members of the Kurdistan Workers' Party, PKK, and political dissidents. The early 1980s were known as the era of barbarism. Inmates were subjected to horrific torture, including electric shocks to the genitals, nail removal, suspension torture, mock rapes, and other cruel methods. There are even accounts of the warden training German shepherds to mutilate prisoners' genitals as punishment. One of the most infamous initiation rituals for new prisoners was the so-called feces bathtub, where inmates were forced to soak for hours in tubs filled with human waste. Many died from infections or suffered mental breakdowns. As a result, Diyarbakir became a symbol of the military regime's repression and its disregard for human dignity. Number 5. Bang Kwang Central Prison, Thailand. Known colloquially as the Bangkok Hilton, Bang Kwang Prison is Thailand's most notorious correctional facility, located on the outskirts of Bangkok. It is infamous for its overcrowding and violent atmosphere. Facilities designed for 2,000 inmates often house far more, with only 10 toilets available. Fights and stampedes over access to basic necessities like drinking water and restrooms are common. The prison operates under a grim code. If you break the rules, you may die. If you follow the rules, you will definitely die. This brutal logic reflects the dominance of gang violence and extreme hierarchy. Prisoners are required to wear heavy iron shackles for extended periods. Poor sanitation often leads to severe foot infections and amputations. Even female inmates are drawn into the violent survival dynamics. Ironically, Muay Thai boxing is promoted as a path to redemption. Under Thai law, inmates who excel in Muay Thai competitions may receive sentence reductions or even early release, particularly if they defeat international opponents. This practice stems from a former warden's passion for the sport. Inmates train rigorously, and matches are seen as a rare glimmer of hope. The film A Prayer Before Dawn is based on the real-life story of British boxer Billy Moore, who overcame addiction in prison life through Muay Thai and eventually competed for Thailand's national team. While this system may offer a path to freedom for some, it fundamentally remains a regime of violent conditioning, where survival demands both physical endurance and mental resilience. Number 4. El Salvador's Mariona Maximum Security Prison. Mariona Prison, located in El Salvador, is one of the most infamous detention facilities in Central America, primarily housing members of violent gangs such as MS-13 and Barrio 18. Designed to hold only 400 to 800 inmates, it often contains 2,000 to 4,000 prisoners, resulting in extreme overcrowding, with up to 4 inmates crammed into each square meter. Cells are filthy and unsanitary, with widespread cases of gangrene requiring amputations due to poor hygiene and lack of medical care. The prison enforces extreme security measures. A high-voltage electric fence and 8-meter concrete walls surround the compound, while 19 watchtowers are manned by armed guards providing 24/7 surveillance. Inside, over 500 cameras monitor every corner. The prison guards have only 2 responsibilities: distributing supplies and shooting escapees. All internal management is controlled by the gangs themselves, turning the prison into a self-governed society within walls. Living conditions are inhumane. Inmates are allowed only 30 minutes of outdoor time per day and spend the remaining 23.5 hours locked to metal bed frames, without mattresses, pillows, or any form of privacy. Food rations are limited to beans and bread, just enough to meet minimal nutritional needs. Utensils are banned to prevent violent incidents. The prison became internationally known after the August 22nd massacre, in 2015, when a gang conflict resulted in 125 deaths, including 14 prisoners who were dismembered. Despite subsequent crackdowns and heightened searches by the government, violence remains rampant. The Salvadoran government presents a prison as a symbol of its war on terror. President Nayib Bukele has dubbed it a prison of the living dead, where inmates have no chance of sentence reduction and are permanently cut off from the outside world. Number 3. Tadmor Military Prison, Syria. Tadmor Military Prison in Syria has long served as a secret detention center for political prisoners and is described by Amnesty International as a facility designed to dehumanize. Notorious for its systematic torture and extreme brutality, it became a symbol of the Assad regime's repression. In June 1980, following an assassination attempt by the Muslim Brotherhood, then President Hafez al-Assad ordered a mass execution at the prison. Soldiers were instructed to kill every prisoner they saw, resulting in the massacre of between 500 and 800 inmates, though some estimates claim as many as 2,400 were killed. The operation included horrific methods, such as execution with axes, electrocution of genitals, mock rapes, and indiscriminate killings. The bodies were so numerous that cleanup operations lasted for 2 weeks. Tadmor's legacy is one of state-sponsored terror, a place where political dissent was met with unimaginable cruelty. Number 2. Gitarama Central Prison, Rwanda. Gitarama Central Prison is widely regarded as a living hell on earth and is often cited as one of the most horrific prisons in the world. Located in Rwanda, the prison was originally built to house only 400 inmates. However, after the 1994 Rwandan genocide, the number of prisoners skyrocketed to nearly 7,000, resulting in unimaginable overcrowding. With an average of 4 people crammed into every square meter, many inmates were forced to sleep standing up or lie in pools of decaying human waste. Medical care inside the prison is virtually non-existent. Gangrene and foot infections are so widespread that amputations have become disturbingly common. Food is extremely scarce, and there are reports of prisoners resorting to cannibalism in desperate attempts to survive. The judicial system is painfully slow. Some inmates have been held for as long as 16 years without a trial. New prisoners are required to wear heavy iron shackles on their feet for the first 3 months, while those sentenced to death are never relieved of them. The prison has no roof. It is an open-air compound, exposing inmates to constant sun, rain, and disease. Deaths from starvation, illness, and neglect are tragically routine. Number 1. Hwasong Concentration Camp, Camp 22, North Korea. Hwasong Concentration Camp, also known as Camp 22, is a North Korean political prison camp used to detain dissidents and their families. Located in Hwaryeong, North Hamgyong Province, near the Chinese and Russian borders, it was established in 1959 and reportedly designed for 50,000 inmates. However, the actual number held is believed to have reached up to 200,000, including children whose only crime was being related to someone deemed a political enemy. Operating on the principle of 3 generations of punishment, the regime imprisons not only dissidents but also their children and grandchildren, forever eliminating what it calls tainted bloodlines. Satellite images reveal a vast complex spanning approximately 48 by 40 kilometers, surrounded by electric fences and high walls. Inside are labor mines, gas chambers, and interrogation rooms. Prisoners are forced to work 12 to 15 hours a day in brutal conditions, such as mining, while surviving on starvation-level rations. Many die from malnutrition, disease, or torture. According to testimonies from defectors, guards subject inmates to systemic abuse, including rape, child killings, human experimentation, and public executions. Despite North Korea's official denial of the camp's existence, international organizations have verified its presence through satellite imagery and former guard testimonies, drawing chilling comparisons to Nazi concentration camps. After hearing about these 10 prisons, which one left the deepest impression on you? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.